So here we are under the back end of a brand new 2025 GMC Denali Duramax. We are going to show you the Kelderman air ride suspension today. So we've got this truck got brought to us from a good friend of mine, local business owner, and brand new. It's got about 35 miles on the odometer and was looking to make some nice upgrades to it and was interested in a lift kit. And we talked to him about some different options and mentioned the Kelderman 4-link air ride system. He uses this truck a lot for work, hauling trailers, stuff in the bed, etc. Nicest thing about the Kelderman system is not only the ride quality, but also the self-leveling feature of having that 4-link air ride suspension. So hooking trailers up to it, putting stuff in the bed, that truck always stays level, rides nice, and really nothing beats it in regards to the factory style leaf spring suspension. So we've been a Kelderman dealer for years here at WC Fab. We've had Kelderman product on a multitude of our own company vehicles, my personal vehicles, and we install quite a bit of their product on all sorts of different vehicles. Just wanted to show off a little bit of the package on this one and some of the different pieces that are a part of the kit and what they do. If you've considered one or are interested in one, kind of help give you a breakdown of what's all involved in a rear kit. And then we'll also move to the front of the truck as this truck received the Kelderman 4 to 6 inch front suspension package. So first you can see here in these up close pictures and videos we have is the air compressor and air dryer system. Now on a short bed pickup, you do lose your spare tire location. The spare tire has to come out in order to install the air compressor, dryer, and air tank. On a long bed application, we can mount these components along the frame rail and in front of the rear tire. You obviously have more real estate on a long bed truck. So we've got a high quality, high performance air compressor as well as a built-in air dryer system. And this stuff is all actuated based off of pressure sensors, obviously, air supply tank with a drain valve for condensation. We also will see a lot of guys install quick connect air fittings in here to run an air chuck to fill up tires, etc. So this compressor dryer system is obviously the heart of keeping this air ride system going. The 4-link arms that we'll show you here in a second have adjustable Haldex valves on them. So as that truck gets weight put on the rear in the bed or via a trailer, those height adjusting sensors will actuate that air valve, which will feed air to the bags or let air out of the bags to keep that ride height level and where you want it set. So this is a self-drying, self-adjusting system. Right now you can see it doesn't have the cover on it. There's normally a cover that installs over the top of it to keep it out of the elements a little better. Nice high quality push-to-connect fittings all throughout. And then as I mentioned, you got your 2-gallon air storage tank. Additionally, you'll see up underneath here, we've got what they call an accumulator tank. There's one on either side of the truck that actually mounts in the rear of the leaf spring hole. And that accumulator tank is about a 1-gallon tank with a large 3/4 inch diameter line that connects directly to the airbag. Essentially what that does is makes that airbag be twice the capacity of just a bag by itself. So this helps with ride quality, and it also helps with the system airing up quicker. If you dump the system down to lower the rear of the truck to connect to a trailer, it'll feed that bag faster with that high volume line and get that truck back up to ride height quicker. But first and foremost, that accumulator tank makes that bag act like a 1.5 gallons now instead of just a 1/2 gallon that's in the bag, and gives that rear suspension a much nicer ride quality. So all of those components are a part of the standard Kelderman 4-link air ride system for the back of these GM trucks. Additionally, here where we're standing, you'll see the heavy-duty sway bar. So this is something that's not normally on a GM truck in the rear. Even with the leaf springs, they do not have a sway bar on the rear of these trucks. But the addition of this sway bar, not only is it necessary with a 4-link air ride, if you didn't have that, you would experience a lot of body roll. In addition to that, having that heavy-duty sway bar makes a massive difference for towing and driving characteristics and capabilities at higher speeds. It just gives the truck a much more solid feel in the driver's seat as far as taking any corners, on ramps, off ramps, etc. With a trailer or a heavy load. Really just makes the whole rig feel a lot more stable. So that is quite a heavy-duty unit. Connects to the side of their frame brackets up here with the big drop link of arm down to the lower sway bar itself. You'll also see here our fabricated aluminum sheet metal rear diff cover with our ARP stainless steel hardware upgrade kit, billet aluminum fill plug. This is a upgrade over the factory unit, about a quart extra capacity, and of course it looks awesome, matches the kit. So nice fabricated piece there. Two more things we'll touch on the rear before we walk around to the front of the rear suspension system. As you can see, the nice Kelderman Raptor hydraulic shocks, billet aluminum bodies, billet aluminum remote reservoirs. These are the shocks that come standard in all of the Kelderman suspension systems. Really nice pieces, billet aluminum reservoir brackets. So those are a nice bolt-on addition. Kelderman's done a lot of work getting the valving dialed in for their suspension systems. So these are better than just an off-the-shelf Fox or Bilstein that you might install on one of these trucks normally. They're specially valved for the air ride system. Last, you can see here, this truck is still going through some final adjustments and getting dialed in, so not everything's tightened down yet. So we've got our pan hard bar, which you can see the jam nuts are still loose on because the truck hasn't made it onto the alignment rack just yet. But connected to their bracket that bolts to the axle, once you remove the leaf springs, cut off the leaf spring mount, they've got this massive heavy-duty bracket that bolts to the axle, and that houses the axle side mount of the pan hard bar, and then their frame bracket on the passenger side frame rail connects the opposing end of that pan hard bar. If you don't have a pan hard bar, that rear axle would essentially just flop left and right out of the truck. You wouldn't be good. It would be very bad. So a pan hard bar is what keeps that axle centered and in line in the chassis and keeps everything operating as it should. So really nice piece that they supply there. Massive 2.5-inch forged joints with grease zerks, big 1-inch threaded ends on each end, and a heavy-duty 1.5-inch diameter pan hard bar. Kelderman's done an excellent job designing these kits and thinking them through, and have really put a lot of effort, and it's a high-quality product, and we wouldn't install it if it wasn't. So we'll wrap around to the front here really quick. So moving to the front end of the rear suspension, I mentioned it a couple times earlier, it's a full 4-link system. So you can see here is the 4-link arms with their bracketry and their heavy-duty rubber isolated link joints, as well as the Haldex valve that I mentioned earlier that controls your ride height adjustment. There is a valve on both the left and right side of the truck, so you can get that truck dialed in. It's not uncommon for these trucks on the driver's side to sit a little lower, especially if you got a full tank of fuel, 36 gallons of fuel on one side of the truck, and a small DEF tank on the other side doesn't always balance out perfectly. So with that Haldex valve, you can adjust the left and right individually to get that truck to ride perfectly level in the rear and not an inch or 3/4 of an inch lower on one side. Bracketry in the front here, major heavy duty like all their stuff. It bolts into the front leaf spring mount, and that is what houses the frame side attachment of your 4-link arms. And then the bracket that I mentioned earlier that the bag and the pan hard mounts to is what houses the front 4-link attachment at the axle. So you've got some heavy duty, semi-grade I would call it, 4-link arms. They use a nice poly style bushing at the connection versus metal style forged joint with hard plastic bushings. That helps with ride quality, road noise, and longer lasting poly bushing there. So obviously you got adjustability and all that. When we get this truck on the alignment rack, you can adjust all kinds of different things. They've got a starting set point in their instruction that you go with, and then you can make fine adjustments on the alignment rack if you'd like. So that wraps up the rear suspension system, and we'll move to the front of the truck and talk about the Kelderman 4 to 6-inch front package. All right, so here we are in the front suspension department. We talked about the rear end 4-link air ride. Now on the GM vehicles, it's not an air ride in the front. We've done several packages of these, several of these Kelderman systems on Fords and Dodges, and they obviously do offer air ride suspension for the straight axle trucks. But for the GM IFS, they offer a high quality conventional style IFS lift kit. So Kelderman has gone and designed a heavy duty forged lift spindle for the 2020 and newer trucks. This is a really nice piece. We've installed a lot of lift kits here at the shop. So this is their 4 to 6-inch package. It matches really well with the 2-inch rear, which is what this truck has. This truck has a 35-inch tire. If you want to do a little more cutting, you can obviously fit a 37 pretty easy. These trucks with a stock offset wheel in factory form, you can tuck a 37 under. But when you go to these big lift kits, you can't run factory style wheels anymore. You got to run a little bit deeper, a little bit less backspace than a factory wheel. And in doing so, obviously brings your tire further out of the wheel well and makes it a little tougher to clear those bigger tires. But you can clear a 37 with this package. This truck's running 35s. Comes with heavy duty Kelderman Kryptonite private label steering components. They're forged spindle, as I mentioned. They've got a longer sway bar links for the sway bar, the same Kelderman Raptor billet aluminum bodied remote reservoir custom valved shocks included in their front package. They have a very nice fabricated steel upper control arm with a ball joint that is sealed off and secured, greasable as well. That upper shock mount bracket does incorporate the bracket for the remote reservoir of the shock. The main components of the lift kit, obviously you've got your front and rear mount for the lower A-arm drop. Those are bolting into the factory location, dropping that lower A-arm down. Heavy duty 1/4 inch steel fabricated pieces. Got all of your diff mount brackets, your spacers for your CV shafts. The front track width is widened just a touch with these bigger lift kits. And then this is a torsion bar drop style kit. So back behind the front end here, you can see the cross member for the torsion bars and how it lowers it down off the frame rail to get those torsion bars lined back up with the control arms. So overall, it's put together a really nice package. This is called a 4-inch lift kit, two in the back, about 4.5, 5 inches in the front, where this one is set with the 35-inch tires. You can run them a little bit taller. The rear suspension package, you can actually get that. It's the same package for a stock ride height as it is a 2-inch ride height, just with the exception of a spacer for the airbag. So if you're not looking to do a front lift kit and you just want the Kelderman 4-link air ride in the rear, you'll get what is called the stock height package, and that's exactly the same as everything we showed you on the rear, just minus a spacer underneath the airbag. And then to get the additional lift height, if you want the 2 or 3 inch rear lift, then they add the spacer underneath the bag, which is a perfect match for their front package. So overall, that is a wrap on the Kelderman front and rear suspension package for 2020 plus GM trucks. This one here shown on a beautiful brand new Denali Ultimate package that we just got in the shop here for a good customer of ours. So if you've got any other questions about Kelderman product, looking to get a kit installed on one of your trucks, go ahead and shoot us a message, let us know. We can quote install or parts for you. Any other questions about the build, make sure to follow along. We will have a couple other episodes on this truck. We've done a lot of WC5 product under the hood, and so stay tuned for more updates on this 2025 Denali Ultimate. Thanks a lot for watching.